So we are going to kind of continue where we left off yesterday, and now we are going to make drawings for each individual piece. So we're going to do this all on the same sheet. So I kind of talked about this yesterday. We've only ever seen sheet 1 of 1. Today we're going to have some more. So we're going to click this button over here. This is the Sheets button. If it's already open for you, that's great. But if it's not, you just click that button, open it up. And up here at the top is Insert Sheet. So we'll click this Insert Sheet. Now we're on sheet 2. And so for sheet 2, what we're going to do is we're going to just put in each piece. So we're going to go to our Insert button. And we're going to click Insert. But now, if before what might have been happening is it's trying to insert the full cube assembly again, just click the Insert button one more time to say, hey, I want to insert something else. So I want us to insert piece 1. Now for my piece 1, it was a sub-assembly. So I'm going to do piece 2 and I'll come back to piece 1. So I'm going to insert my piece 2. Okay. So my piece 2, it's starting off with the front view. So I'm going to put in my front view. Then remember we drag straight across to get our right view. And then now I have to click the front view again and drag straight up. Don't go to the side. Make sure you go straight up. Make sure you start with that front view. Okay, you start with that front view here. Don't start with the top view. Don't start with the right view. It'll mess everything up. Start with the front view in this bottom left corner. Then I'll click it again, go up to the top, kind of put this in the corner, and there's our isometric view. So now we need to do a couple things. I need to right click, first hit escape, right? So you're back to a mouse. Then right click and do show shaded view. That'll color this guy in. Then on all 3 of these, hold down shift, click all 3 of these, right click and show any hidden lines. Okay. This one did not have any hidden lines, but we just want to double check and make sure if I do have hidden lines that we get them shown. Now I'm going to add in my dimensions. So remember it's this tool up here with the 2 arrows, dimension, or you can click the letter D. And so we want to do kind of thinking from the left side over, right on the front from the left over. So I start on the left. Do I hit anything? Nope. So I just go straight across. And then we want to make sure this is in the middle. So I have 1 width dimension. Okay, kind of space it out nice. 1 width dimension. Now I'm going to do my heights. Where do I see my heights better? On the front view or on the right view? I feel like the L shape is better for this, so I'm going to use this shape. So I'm going to start on the bottom. Do I hit anything? Yeah, I hit this part. Always go on the left side, so I'm in between these two. Don't go on the right side. Okay, so on the left side, I'm going to go out about here. And from the bottom, now I go to the next thing I hit, which is up here. That's 2.250. Don't put it up here, kind of put it in the middle. And just try to space it out, nice and kind of even with the next guy. All right, now I need my depths. My depths I can either do, this way, sideways on the right view, or I can do up and down on the top view. Now, I kind of would like to do sideways on this view, but the problem is those would cross. So because they're going to cross, I'm going to choose instead to do my depths on this top view. So I'm going to go from the bottom up until it hits, kind of come across, and the bottom up until it hits, and come across, put it in the middle. So I have 1 width, 2 depths, and 2 heights. All right, and then this is fully finished. Then I would go on to my next piece. So I'm going to hit Sheet again. I will go to Insert again. I'm going to click Insert another time. And now I'm going to put in my next piece. I'm going to show if you do have a piece like this that is split into 2, you should have made it into an assembly. So I'm actually going to choose sub-assembly for my red one. And then I'll put in my front view. Then click over to the right view. Then click it, go up to the top view. And click it and go over to our isometric view. Okay. Then hit escape, same thing I did before. Right click this one and show shaded view. And now I'm going to hold down shift for all 3 of these, right click them and show any hidden lines. So this time I do have some hidden lines. So remember, we are not supposed to dimension any hidden lines. So I'm going to hit dimension again. And I'm going to start. Now, this one's a little bit weird, because if I start on the left side, the first thing I actually hit is this line. And I don't want to go up here because if I go up here, so I'm adding in a line, I don't want to do that. That's going to make it more confusing. So on this one, I do actually want to drag, because of the way my shape is drawn, I do want to drag it down below. So most of the time, yes, I put these dimensions in between, but because of the way this one's drawn, I would put it below. Okay. The other thing you could do, I guess, is you could dimension it, on that side. Okay, so I have that one. Next, I'm going to hit dimension again, and I'll go from here. So first I hit this one, like if I was an ant, the first thing that's different is here. The second thing that's different is over here. So now I'm going to go up, and then finally the third one would be the overall. So I have 3 widths. You are never going to have more than 3 on any of this because the maximum is 3 cubes. Then for my heights, this one is a little bit tricky because I can't dimension that hidden line. I don't want you to dimension the hidden line, which means we have to do it over here. So I'm going to dimension from here to here. And again, I don't want to cross over. I want to do it on this side. But my issue here is that these lines are kind of crossing. So what I'm going to do just to kind of try to fix this is delete this one. So that's telling me the height there. And I'm going to just add that one in up here. So I'm going to dimension from this point to this point. And I feel like that's a better dimension. Okay, so I did my 0.750 there, and then I did the 1.50 and the 2.25 there. If you really want to, you can put them all on the same one. So I could dimension, from this corner here, and then from this guy to the end. Oops. All right, and then make sure you get it into the middle. It's right there. There it is, locked. So now I have all 3 of mine there. That's okay as well. So anyways, I put my 0.750 on the left because, again, if I go over here, see how it's kind of passing through the block? I don't want it to pass through the block. So that's why I put it over here. So that was my first height. Now for my second height, it would be the overall. But I don't want to put this one over here. I want to put it in the middle because now it's in the middle of these two. So it is okay that these are on opposite sides. It just happened because of the way my part was drawn. Then finally my depths. Okay, for my depths, I can either do this guy to this guy, or I can do on the right view, this one to this one. All right, so there's one depth, and then our second depth. So I have 2 for my depths, okay? So I have 2 for my depths, 2 for my heights, and then 1, 2, 3 for my widths. Okay? And generally on these, it's going to kind of match up with, if you kind of look at your block, so it's like 1, 2, 3 cubes across going like this way, right, left and right. So that's why I had 1, 2, 3 widths. Then it's 1, 2 blocks tall, which is why I had 2 heights. And then it's, if I go backwards, like my depth, it's 1, 2 blocks like a backwards extrusion, which is why I had 2 depths. Now, it doesn't really matter the order that you put these in, but I am going to move my sheet 3 up and have that be, the second one. And, we can rename these, right? So this first one is called sheet 1, but I'm just going to call it, the full cube. Then this second one I'm going to call, oops, right click at rename, I'll call this red. Right, and then this third one, I'll rename it blue. So now it doesn't really seem out of order. It's calling it sheet 2 because I moved it up. So this is sheet 2, sheet 3. We'll just keep going. Right, after that, go back to int. Oh, oops, I got to make a new sheet, right? So first I have to click the new sheet button. Okay, click on new, click insert, and next I'll do my green piece. Right, so same thing that I've been doing, put in the front first. Right, then come over to the right. I'm not going to do all of these. This will be the last one I do for us. Go up and click up there on that guy, and then right in the right corner, that isometric view. So then hit escape. We will right click this and show our shaded view. Okay, and then hold down shift to pick all 3 of these, right click and show any hidden lines. This one did not have too many hidden lines, but it did have a couple, right? So hidden lines are saying like, hey, if I'm looking from the front, there's nothing back behind this space, right? So that's why there's a hidden line here. There's nothing behind that space. So if I'm looking across, there's 1, 2, 3 cubes across, so I'm going to have 3 dimensions there. So from here to here, that's 1. From here to here, that's my second cube. And then from here to here, that's my third cube. And just get it locked in the center. Okay, then for heights, going up and down, I have 2 heights. So there's 1 height and a second height. And kind of going backwards on my extrusion, I have 1, 2, 3 going back. So I should have 3 there. Now, if I try to do this one, right, that's going to put it on the wrong side, or I'm going to have to put it over here. So I'm going to dimension this one from this side. So it gives me 1, 2, all right, so that would be finished for that one. And then you'll just add 2 more sheets for your last 2. So kind of showing the finished look, this is my green piece, this is my purple piece, and I want to show on the purple piece just a couple decisions that I made just to make sure that we don't dimension these hidden lines. So on my heights, I have 1, 2, 3 height cubes, but that's a hidden line. So I added that dimension in over here where it wasn't a hidden line. But then I left the 1.50 and the 2.50 there. Right? Then the other thing I did was for the orange piece, this one was pretty complicated actually, is on my depths, all of these were hidden lines. But I did the first depth down below because I didn't want it to pass through. The second depth down below, again, I didn't want that to pass through. But the third depth, I had to put above because I didn't want it to cross with this 0.750 line. Right, and then same thing, that 0.750 line I did on this side. So if I had it over here, it would cross through. So I had it over here instead. And then the 1.50 and the 2.50 line I chose to put on the front view so they weren't clashing with these guys and crossing through those guys. So it's kind of a tricky one, but you'll get the hang of it. The main thing, if your lines cross, it is what it is. The main thing that I really need to see is that if this is 1 cube across width, you have 1 cube across width. If it's 1, 2, 3 cubes high, you have 1, 2, 3 heights. If it's 1, 2, 3 cubes depth, you have 1, 2, 3 depths. So I want to see the proper number of dimensions. So remember that you always need to do your width dimensions, your height dimensions, and then your depth dimensions. And you'll have either 1, 2, or 3 for each of these. Okay, I didn't rename these, so make sure that at the end you go ahead and rename those sheets. This was my green sheet. And then you have to kind of click out of it to rename. This is my purple sheet. And then finally the last one was my orange sheet. So click out of it, right click, rename. And so then this is totally finished. One thing that's kind of cool as well is that with this Vaughn template, it'll automatically put in the part name. So this is, the orange part. When we're over here, it's the purple part. And they're all part of my cube assembly drawing file that we named down here. And so now that we're finished, we're going to do the same thing that we did yesterday, where we are going to right click on where it says cube assembly drawing. We will export this as a PDF. Click on export. And the cool thing is this is actually going to do all 6 pages, all 6 sheets. So when we open this with a PDF application, right, this will have our first page, but it's 1 of 6, and it will have all 6 of these parts for us. And so that's kind of our finalized drawing. This is what you could give a manufacturer if they were going to construct this, 3D print this, build this. This is what they would want to see. They would want to see the assembly with all the pieces together. And then they would want to see a file for each individual piece with dimensions for each piece. Okay. Somewhere on here, we do probably want to mention that these are all in inches, since we didn't have that. So that might be something that we would add in as well. Is maybe like we can do that right now before we export. You could export a second time. Is kind of add a text box somewhere, maybe at the top. Oh, sorry, that's not a text box. This is our text box. Right. So we'll add that note, and we'll just say all units in inches. And cool. So we have all units in inches. I might even box that, right? If we wanted to like put a rectangle around that. So you could use this line tool and just kind of make sure that those line up. So you could box that all units in inches, and then now I'll export it one last time. Right, this way, the manufacturer knows what those units are since we didn't specify them. All right, so that's what you're going to turn in. We will have today to do that, and then tomorrow is going to be kind of a catch-up day. So if you're finished with everything, tomorrow you'll have a free day. If you're not finished with everything, then tomorrow you will have to just work on catching up on whatever you need to catch up on.